In the previous part, I've shown how this contactless tachometer and balancing instrument is made, the theory of operation and how it works. In this part, you will see the characteristics and functions of the instrument and the tests both for reading speed and to gauge mass angles for balancing. The instrument needs more improvements, and balancing, as you will see in this video, is quite a complex job. So any further help from people that have knowledge in balancing will be really appreciated. Anyway, whether you have questions or have suggestions, please leave your comments in the section below. They will be appreciated anyway. The photoelectric sensor is composed with an infrared LED from which a beam is projected toward a rotating shaft or disc where a black marker, say a piece of tape, is conveniently placed. And such a beam is thus reflected back to this photodetector that indeed is an integrated circuit built around a phototransistor. The IR LED and the photodetector are slightly slanted so that the two optical lines meet at a vertex not too far from the sensor. The central red LED is used to provide visible guidance of the beam. A better alternative would be laser LED, but you know, I have no one handy. The instrument works in two modes, time and frequency. In time mode, the speed is calculated taking the time lapsed between two pulses, that is when the marker is seen at the first time and then the second time. That happens when the rotor shaft have made a full revolution. This mode is good for low speed, down to 1 rpm, while its maximum is 6000 rpm. In frequency mode, the speed is calculated taking the number of pulses, that is the number of revolutions, within a given time frame, in this case 1 second. This mode doesn't provide a very high resolution, just 60 rpm, but it's suitable for measuring high speed, theoretically up to 60,000 rpm. Also, I've made a settings page to enter compensation parameters for angles. Reading speed is quite simple. It is enough to point the red light onto the disc at the right distance, and when the yellow LED is blinking, you know that the marker is detected and the speed is displayed. Balancing is more complex. I'm not an expert at all in this field, and making this project I realized that balancing is a tricky job. Besides static balancing, basically there are two types of dynamic balancing. On soft bearings, where the rotor is suspended on soft bearings, and on hard bearings, where the rotor is kept in place hardly, and the vibration are measured with the velocity and the pressure of the vibration is measured. What I have made is just an instrument that reads the phase and pressure or acceleration or velocity, but the whole machine would need a rig that holds the rotor on an external and an external motor that drives the rotor through a belt. My testing bench is humbly made with this simple rig. This disc and this dial are printed on cardboard, and a DC motor with a screw is used to simulate the unbalancing mass. And the motor lies directly on the pressure sensors that are here and on the back here, and is kept in place with Gorilla Tape. This resembles a sort of hard bearing arrangement with a certain degree of elasticity. For balancing, I've moved the zero to the top, so it is easier to handle the instrument. At the moment I focus on the front sensor. As you can see, the reading is quite unstable, and this is very likely because the sensor picks up noise and secondary vibrations, as you can see in these images taken from the oscilloscope. However, something usable can be read out, and the value here is around under 15 to under 25 degrees. Now, after having turned off the motor, I move the shaft to align the marker on the dial at the angle theta first read from the instrument, and I take note of the location on the dial of the simulation mass, the screw, that is about negative 15 degrees. So I've borrowed here in this sheet the data gathered from the instrument and the dial, and here we have theta first, and that is read from the instrument, and that was about between under 15 degrees and to under 25 degrees, that I averaged into under 20 degrees, and that is this angle phi theta first in respect to the reference point that is represented by the photo detector, and the location of the mass that is of about negative 15 degrees. So to calculate the actual theta, we have to subtract from theta first the angle phi, that is the distance of the sensor from the reference point sorry, from the reference point represented by the photo detector, and in this case is under 80 degrees. So the result is negative 60 degrees. So if we move the dial again to reflect this actual angle, theta angle, we see that the mass is very close to the location of the sensor. That makes sense, but it is off of this error, and in this case we go into the positive quadrant, so that we have to change this angle from negative to positive, and to compensate this error we enter this error into the equation, so that we add the error, and we get as a result negative 45 degrees. That place the mass, the unbalanced mass, actually at the location of the sensor, and to counterbalance this unbalanced mass we have to put another mass in on the other side. This is always under 80 degrees from the location of the sensor. In this case the position of the reference of the photo detector is meaningless. Meaning the position of the sensor is the reference for the counterbalance. The problem with balancing is that if you move the point of reading, as you can see on the oscilloscope, you can have a dramatic change in phase. So when reading the angle, is really important to choose a position and stay firmly. Changing the position of the beam here toward the center of the shaft, and here toward the periphery of the shaft of the disc, changes the aperture, the length of the pulse, and changes the phase too. It may change the phase too. Also, you can see here this is the signal. Moving this. This is the signal coming from the pressure sensor, and you can see a lot of noise that is generated by the motor and grabbed by the sensor. To avoid this problem, I probably have to add a moving average algorithm in the software. Also, if the speed is doubled and the vibration is very high, and if the motor is not kept in place firmly, the signal is out of phase, changed phase. While if the motor is kept in place firmly, that is what the actual hard bearing, the signal becomes stable and have the same phase. I will look for improvements on this instrument and further tests and experiments that I will show in the next video. Also, any help from who among you knows about balancing is really welcome. So please leave your comment in the section below. For now, that's all, folks. Thanks for watching. See you next time. It seems it is also able to detect the mains frequency coming from the fluorescent light, which is 10 milliseconds, and is, as you can see, it is perfectly synchronized with the mains. You can see here the ripple coming from the rectifier. We have 100 Hertz because the light turns on at each half waves of the 50 Hertz.